hounded by hatred, trapped by fear. I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I'll slaughter my own. Help me, I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet. Heir to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Peace and love. Welcome again to the NAPC podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Salam.
Yes, today's episode we focused on success through solidarity, right? What does it mean to express solidarity? What does it mean to express sympathy? Sympathy is just simply feelings, right? You feel sorry for somebody, you feel compassionate for somebody, whereas solidarity is actually taking up action, doing what needs to be done to carry out the overall objective. The work, yes, indeed, brother. So just a couple of days ago, they had the fundraiser for Sekou Odenga. It was featured on blackpowermedia.com. Black Power Media. It's a very powerful YouTube channel. It's also on Facebook, and they're doing an incredible job. They got over 33,000 subscribers. So there was a number of people that viewed the fundraiser. When I looked last, it was over 1,000 people who viewed it. There was hundreds of people that participated. For those who made donations, and thousands of dollars were acquired because of their participation. So we just want to say Black Power salute to those who expressed solidarity, who actually did the work. So today we're going to talk about what does that mean to express solidarity as opposed to sympathy. Because anybody could feel sorry for somebody, but going another step and actually doing something is something that's needed, especially in political prisoner work. So, Brother Abdul Haq Ishaq, what's your view on solidarity as opposed to sympathy?
Peace and love, brothers and sisters, to all our strong, stand up folks out there. Black Power. It's about doing the work. As opposed, thinking about it. Being in agreement with something. Coming together. Dealing with the real world, and dealing with the real world means you must do some real things. Produce a product. We must come together and work together. You understand, with that spirit, that unconquerable spirit. To move forward. To move mountains. And this is the power that the people have. We talked about Brother Sekou getting the response from the feeling black power, in their hearts and in their minds and in their bones, you understand, and putting forth that work, So, we're in a period right now where it is very, very necessary for our people to be in touch with those who have that unconquerable fighting spirit, and for that spirit to manifest itself, and work in the people. We're going through a period of time where fascism is on the rise. Fascism that comes at our human rights, that comes at our right of speech, that comes at our legal rights, and there is a very, very strong probability that Adolf Hitler, also known as Donald Trump, is going to be in office, and he has said that he will stop at nothing to get his program going, which means the denial of our human rights. He has promised to unleash troops on us to stop our protests, coming at our legal rights, stacking the courts with fascist judges, coming at our political education, coming at our education of what's happening in the real world, So in that vein, I mentioned something which might be good for research in terms of coming at our right to education for what's happening in the real world. Look up ASLAH, which stands for the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. And one of their main objectives, their goals, is to push back at the move by right-wing elements, concentrated mainly in Florida, of preventing our being able to have education of the true life and history of Black people in America, and a part of that type of education that they don't want us to have is education in the Black liberation movement. That which gives us the undoubtable will to fight, to stand up in spite of everything, a history of the Black liberation movement, of the heroes, and the courageous stand that our people made, you understand, which comes at and destroys, that opposite, that race traitor consciousness, which produces Uncle Toms and bootlickers and behind lickers, those who shrivel like little cowards, and don't do nothing, who won't stand up for nothing. That's the type of consciousness they want us to have when they deny us a true history of what happened to us in the U.S., and in the world. Right now, the United States, in cooperation with Israel, is denying the rights of the Palestinian people. The United States is giving weapons to Israel, which is killing babies. United States is a baby killer, has murdered more than 8,000 infants, babies in Palestine, And one thing that the U.S. is doing, that it does here and is doing over there, is that it supports Israel in the murder of 52 journalists, which enables the people to have a true history, a true understanding of what's happening in the real world. It's necessary to have a true understanding of what's happening in the world in order for us to act, based on some reality. They murdered 52 journalists. They murdered 20,000 people, which includes 8,000 babies. And this is the type of thing that if people are conscious of it, will make people rise up. And it's very, very necessary for Black people to rise up. Because like I said, Adolf Hitler is coming. In 2024, there is a great probability that Donald Trump will be the next president. Polls say that he is leading, he's in front of the other, choice of lesser evils. Biden and Trump is at the head right now, and so we can expect to have to deal with fascism, which a very, very fundamental aspect of fascism is violence against the people. Force.
And one of the things that we want to be very alarmed about when it comes to fascism is the attack that it has on political prisoners.
Correct.
We might not even get our political prisoners home on compassionate release, right? That might not even happen because of fascism.
The courts.
Right, exactly.
The courts are being stacked with a far right wing, psychopaths. By the far right wing. Donald Trump did that when he was in office, and will probably be back in office to put more and more of these far right wing judges, in the courts. So every aspect of our lives, which is very, very fundamental to our survival, is being affected. So we must take a mighty stand. So it is very, very necessary for us to be politically conscious, for us to be strong in our being, because they say, fascism involves a strong man. You understand? The leader of fascism, they require strong men. So we must be strong men and women. We must be stronger than the strong man. You understand? As Brother Coltrane Shimaranga, told us that we must have that we must have overkill in our hearts and minds and in our being. Overkill against all the anti-human, all the oppressive, exploitive plans and strategies, of the enemy. We must prepare ourselves to overcome everything they throw at us. So this is coming up very, very soon. So, brothers and sisters, we saying get ready for the fight, because the fight is here. And put up your dukes and get ready.
Right. One of the things that you can do to fight is to study. He gave you some material to look at. Also, write to our political prisoners. Once you start doing these type of actions, then consciousness will start being raised. Political prisoners, as you start learning about their situation, learning how they got in prison, then you start understanding the threat of fascism. You start understanding how there is going to be a response when you are willing to take a position that's correct, right? And we have to accept the price for being right, right? Everybody, just like in Cuba, they have to accept the price for being correct, right? You have the embargo, the blockade. Just like in Zimbabwe, they have to pay the price for being correct, which is the sanctions, right? You know that you don't be free by not having access or power to your land. You don't be free by accepting what the former colonizer says that you should accept as freedom. So we got to be clear. We got to understand that. And we got to take a role in doing what's correct. And that means we have to make that clear distinction between solidarity and sympathy. Because, right, we want you to share this video, but we want you to do more than that. We want you to take time out and write to a political prisoner. It doesn't take much time, and it's not a crime to write to a political prisoner. So don't be afraid to do that action, and that will let you understand what it really means to see things change. Because when we see things that are wrong and we just ignore them, or we get satisfied with having sympathy, oh, I feel sorry for this person, right? Somebody passes away in somebody's family, you say you have condolences, or you have sympathy, right? But do you show up to the wake? Do you offer them something to eat? Do you have an extended phone call? Do you have several phone calls of checking up on them? We have to look at ourselves and examine ourselves and say, am I doing a little bit more? And that's what the theme is today. It's success through solidarity, right? People tuned in on the fundraiser, and they actually did some work, right? They made donations. They watched the whole program, or they shared it with a number of people, right? And those who made financial contributions, they took action that was even a bit more. So yeah, you can that is a form of solidarity, but challenge yourself to do more, right? Challenge yourself to say, listen, I'm going to step up and I'm going to do what needs to be done, because these political prisoners should not be home. Should come home, right? They shouldn't die in prison. Y'all know our line. That's the line that we say on every episode. So, brother, you had something on your mind. You have this look of that you have to get something off your mind. What's going on? What do you wanted to say?
Well, I was just thinking on some of the things that you said, brother, and when we talk about raising the consciousness of our people and getting our people to act in our own interests, one thing that we must reject powerfully, is the thing of some people becoming race traders, joining the side of the enemy, working in the interest of the enemy, for their own little selfish objectives. For example, we must have a strong response to people like William O'Neill, who assassinated Chairman Fred. And incidentally, Chairman Fred Jr. was on the air. What day was that, brother? Last Thursday.
There was December 4th.
December 4th.
That was 2 days ago.
Right. So, tune into that.
Go Black Power Media.
Black Power Media. Go into that and check that out. So we're saying that, as participants in the Black liberation struggle, that we've always had in that struggle a strong rejection, of working in the interests, of the enemy. We have a strong love and attachment to the interests of our people, of the masses of our people, and being loyal to the people. You understand? To work with dignity and self-respect. So we encourage more and more of our brothers and sisters out there to join the ranks of the revolutionaries. And Brother Frank mentioned sanction, and what I want to say, the sanctions kill. Sanctions are just not a little word we use. Sanctions are very, very deadly. Look at the toll of sanctions took around the world, where America has applied sanctions, like in Africa and other places. Look at the death toll of the U.S. In its foreign relations around the world. Very, very deadly. So we cannot cooperate and be a part of that. And be proud to put on a uniform to go around the world and killing dark-skinned people or to rip their resources.
And the only way we are not participating in an action of sanctions or the blockade is actually standing against that. Like we live in those who live in the United States, we taxpayers, right? Our government's supposed to answer to us. So we supposed to let our government know, listen, or the government that we live in, listen, we don't want these sanctions anymore. We don't want this blockade, this embargo anymore. Enough is enough. You spent enough time and enough resources doing this. It's time to end that. It's time to stop that. And we say that that we won't accept that anymore. And I think as working class people, we have to realize our power. Because once we start understanding our power, we understand the power of a general strike. Now you say that, okay, we not gonna go to work today, or we're gonna interrupt business. Business will not go on because we have an issue with the sanctions going on. We have an issue with the blockade going on, and our voices are gonna be heard. Why? Because business has been interrupted. We got to understand we can always take action. We can always do something. Saying that you feel sorry for somebody is not enough. You can do more. So we say that, we have compassion for political prisoners. So our expression of solidarity is this podcast, and committing ourselves to doing this podcast on a weekly basis. We ask all those who tune in to please tell the people to subscribe. Let's get that subscription up, because when we get the subscription up, now we have a broader audience. Now our ideas, our message is amplified, and this way we can let other people know that they are political prisoners in the United States. They need to be recognized, and we need to struggle to bring them home. And we need to watch out from fascism, because that's something that will attack any chance our political prisoners have of coming home, and that would have our political prisoners die in prison. And in fact, because the fascists say that there's no such thing as political prisoners in the United States, we say who's what, and we say these people are criminals. These people are terrorists, and terrorists need to be dealt with a severe penalty. So, that's the seriousness when it comes to fascism, and around how it deals with political prisoner work. I know what alarms you most when it comes to fascism and how it relates to political prisoner work.
What disturbs me the most about fascism, is that some people might succumb and bow to it, and see some type of superpower, some imaginary superpower, in white supremacy, that think it's impossible to stand up, and to fight against, to think that it's inevitable, that it is an act of God, that white supremacy will rule over us, actually see white supremacy as some type of God, which they bow down to and kiss the ground, you understand, and it becomes impossible in their being to stand up and get up off the ground, So I say that, in fascism, fascism requires a strong man. A strong man. So I repeat that we must be stronger men and women, and fill ourselves with those strong ideas.
Right. And when we talk about, back to when I was talking about success through sympathy, through solidarity, we're saying that we can acquire victories, right? And solidarity is an expression of a collective interest. When we deal with things as a collective, we're setting aside our differences, our distractions, right? We're focusing on an objective that is beneficial to us equally. So if I have a concern and you have a concern, and we might have different religions, now we say, listen, let's put that to the side. Let's focus on our collective concern. Let's focus on what we both agree on. And we both agree that this should be done. And we relate that to political prisoners. We both agree that political prisoners should not die in prison. We say that political prisoners have a political consciousness. They understand the relationship between people and politics. They understand the relationship between people and power, which equates to politics. So once they understand that it's essential to fight for power, because power determines what's going to happen to your lives on all levels, from the quality of water you drink to the time the bus is going to pick you up to work. In fact, you even having a job is a political decision. So we can't undermine what it says to be political, what it means to be political. We got to take a definitive position. We got to understand with clarity that it's a life or death situation. And that's why when the brother brought up fascism, we have to take that very seriously. for all of us who are fighting to bring our political prisoners home. When we hear about fascism on the rise, when we hear about events that are taking place, we need to take a position. We need to take time out and be there, because knowing who's the best basketball player or who's the best rapper or what's been going on in the entertainment life, and you don't have no political understanding about what's going on in your reality, is very dangerous. Because when things take off and they start developing even more, you'll be so far behind that you won't know what to do. You won't know how to actually fight as opposed to surviving, because those are two different things. Fighting and surviving are not the same, right? When you fight, you're being rational. When you're surviving, you're just being emotional. And you want to be rational in all the things that you do, because that's where you make decisions with a clear head. That's where you're able to say, okay, this is what's going to be done, and I'm ready for the consequences of my actions. Brother, when you think about fascism, right, and you think about it developing more and it being intense, what message would you have for people as far as how they deal with it?
Well, my message to the people in that regard is to do your research and discover the truth. The greatest enemy of fascism is the truth. Our brother Coltrane Shemaranga taught us that you hit the enemy where it hurts the most, his Achilles heel. And since the enemy's main weapon is falsehood, his Achilles heel, understand, is the truth. So you study a reality, you study history. Like I say, ASLAA, you understand, ASLAH. You understand? Its mission is to present our people with a true history of what we've been through. As opposed to the movement of the fascists that don't want us to know anything about our history. Of the crimes that white supremacy has committed against our people and the victories that we've had through standing up. If we look at Israel right now, we see an example of fascism in Israel. Israel robbing land, stealing land, and the false narrative that comes through the U.S. media, which is the voice of Hitler. The voice of fascism. It's interesting and kind of humorous. If we look up the son of the originator of Hamas, this is an individual who gets on who was a spy for Israel. He was born in Palestine, became a spy for Israel, and one of the lies he tells is that Palestine is stealing land from Israel. And he is coming up with a movie. And so people get your microphones and your cameras ready. To come at this boy and make his lies backfire on him. He's getting ready to do a movie on the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It's going to be plenty. We're going to predict it's going to be based on the lies he's telling right now. It's going to be plenty lies that we can make explode in his face, and in doing that, producing some powerful truth to aim at the Achilles heel of your enemy. Take a sledgehammer to your Achilles heel. Take atomic bombs, metaphor now, to the Achilles heel of the enemy by telling the truth. These powerful
Right.
truths, which when you compare to the lies they tell, they hit hard in the heart and soul of the people and produce some work.
One of the things that you mentioned Islam, right? And I thought that you being a person of Islam for a number of years, you have a very important message to those of the Islamic faith as it relates to what's going on in Palestine and as it relates to what's going on with our political people like Kamal Siddiqui, who is Islamic, also Imam Jamil Al-Amin, he's Islamic, and speak to those brothers, man, before we close out.
Well, I would say, to the Muslims that the brothers that he just mentioned, are people that we can use up and get some weaponry in our heart, some weaponry in our speech, you understand, to deal with the realities that's happening right now. Look at people like Ahmed Didat Ahmad, Sheikh Uthman ibn Farouk, and look up Islamic apologists, to get some weaponry, that we can use in this fight, because indeed a great deal of this fight that's going on right now is America against Islam and Muslims. So, we can't just lay down, just bend over and let somebody kick us in the behind. We got to fight back. So in the brothers that the brother just mentioned, in the organizations that we're talking about, that come at the lies, that being told there's many, many powerful weapons that we can use against fascism, and fascism's main weapon being falsehood, So we hurl truth against falsehood and knock its brain out.
Yes, well said. I couldn't say it with more passion than you. And that's why I'm very grateful to have a brother like you on this platform with me, taking the time out to, raise the awareness of U.S. held political prisoners, because we could have been doing anything at this particular time, but yet we made this time dedicated to discussion on political prisoners. And that's why that fundraiser for Sekou Odinga, a former political prisoner who committed so many years of his life.
And he's very, very grateful for
yes, very grateful
for the support.
He's committed so many years of his lives to advance his people. Now it's time that his people
in and out of prison.
Yes, in and out of prison.
Mm-hmm. He did 33 years.
Yes, and prior to him being incarcerated, he was organizing our people. So we have to think about that, and we have to show gratitude about what we decide to do in terms of helping him at this particular stage of his life. I think that, we have to really make clear distinctions between sympathy and solidarity. Mm-hmm. Yes, we all are sympathetic, but not all of us are expressing solidarity. Solidarity is action, sympathy is feelings. So with that, we say, don't let political prisoners die in prison. What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the
call?
1
second. And also, I want to repeat that we also in giving props to our political prisoners, we also give props to the masses who they educate and encourage, and push forward. We give props to them too. Like I said, the support they gave the brother Sekou, people who work on the ideas they get from our political prisoners, brothers like Comrade George Sekou, Fred Hampton, people like that, people who act on the ideas of Brother Malcolm, formerly known as El Haj Malik Shabazz. We give props to them too, and we recognize the power of the people. The enemy cannot resist the power of the people, to move forward, can nothing stop you. All power to the people.
All power to the people.